girl Spice, coming at you with another edition of Spice's Dish, where I dish on all the crazy things I see in these internet streets. So this week, I am back on my Reddit streets in the Relationships Advice tab, and this one is from Throw R.A. Skull and Gems, and we're going to read their story. So, if you have any fun, interesting stories, make sure you send them to me. But until then, let's go ahead and read this one and see what they have to say. Let's get into the show. This says, she's a 36-year-old female, husband, 41-year-old male, has some disturbing requests after he's passed away. Just a reminder to you guys, I don't pre-read these, so whatever you get, I always pick them by the first line, and if it catches me, it catches me. So let's just cross our fingers that this is good. The one is really bizarre, and I'm sorry ahead of time. My husband of 12 years has had some medical problems recently. The topic about end-of-life plans came up, and I asked if he wanted to be buried. He didn't want that, nor did he want to be cremated. Huh? What are the other options, sir? Well, I guess he's about to tell us. My husband wants me to have his skull taken from his body and cleaned. Then he wants the skull put on the mantelpiece in the living room. Boy, if you don't stop. No, we're not doing that.
Boy, if you don't get...
The rest of his body, he wants sent to one of those places that makes the gems out of bodies and made into 2 blue diamonds. They make gems out of your body? Can they do that? I'm sorry, what? I mean, we got men putting on weaves. I guess you could turn yourself into a gem, but I didn't know. I've never heard of that. He then wants those loose gems to be put in the eye socket of the skull to look like eyes. I'm sorry, what? Is he crazy? Does he worship the devil? I don't understand this whole skull. I don't get it. Why would you? Ew. I don't want to look at your skull, husband, after you're dead. I don't, with gems in it or not. Then he can watch the family home and be passed down through generations. That is disturbingly, creepily fascinating. My husband has always had a morbid, culturally insensitive sense of humor. As such, when he'd mentioned it before he was sick, I thought he was joking. Turns out he's not joking. He even asked me to do it too, so our skulls and matching eye gems can stay above the fireplace together. I'm sorry, what? I adamantly refused. Good call. I tried talking to him, but he's firm that this is what he wants. I told him that it made me uncomfortable, but he said it was for our 4 kids to have who are not currently old enough to weigh in on this discussion. I asked if this was his way of trying to live on with the family even after death, and he said, not really. He said, not really, no. I asked where he wanted the extra cremated remains from the gem company spread, and he told me that he didn't want any remains and to just have the biggest gems possible made and have the company dispose of the rest. What is this company? Do we need to Google this? I feel like we need to Google search because I did not know there was such a thing. I've heard people turn themselves into trees. I've heard them turn themselves into necklaces or putting some of their cremated remains in necklaces. I ain't never heard of being no gem. I argued that he had no idea if his children would want the literal skull of their father. Further, which child would take the skull after he died? Yeah. That's a good question. And in 2 or 3 generations, how would he feel if when his descendants just sold this bizarre human skull at a garage sale because it means nothing to them? That could create so much trouble, y'all. Let's say the skull loses the gems in the eye, and now you just got this regular skull. If I was a friend and came to my friend's house and they had a regular skull just sitting on the mantle, I'm going to call somebody. I'm going to tell my mom, and then we're going to call the authorities. Because why do you have a head on your mantle? Is that just me? I feel like that's crazy. I'm sorry, what? And finally, how was he going to feel about the fact that I, in my grief and trying to process the loss of him, would likely never take that skull out of the box, much less have to live with him staring at me every time I'm on the couch, especially when I got my new boo. Oh, sorry. Drink your water. He essentially wasn't worried or didn't care about any of it. And regarding not taking it out of the box, it's the only time he seemed upset. He told me that was what he wanted, and I'd be ignoring his final wishes. I told him that he didn't have to live with those final wishes for years to come, but it didn't matter. Part of me wants to get over my feelings, but I can't. I want to cry thinking of someone hacking apart my husband and handing me his bones. And I feel anxiety over the thought of putting that skull with his blue eyes in my home until I die. Girl, I feel it. That's crazy. I'm fine if he wants a burial. I'm fine with cremation. Viking funeral, that's weird thing where they turn you into tree food. I've heard of that. Whatever. I even fine with the gyms on their own. But his whole skull thing is really bothering me. He won't budge and he isn't joking. At this point, I'm thinking I would just do a simple cremation after he passes and spread his ashes on our property. But that seems sneaky and dishonest. But there is absolutely no way that I can comfortably live with what he's asking if he passes away before me. What do I do? She puts in an edit. She says, I did not expect this to get the attention it has, and I'm grateful for so many of the responses. At the end of the day, I want my husband to feel listened to, respected, and loved. This process has cemented to me that I definitely will not be putting his skull on my mantle until I die, but there were many compromises and ideas suggested that I'm going to think about. When it feels right, I'll suggest some of them to him. For now, I'm going to sign off, give my husband a big hug, and think about this for a few days. Girl, this is crazy. She says, he knows this post exists now, and we both are confident we can reach a compromise that makes us both comfortable. We're not going to talk about it all today. We're just going to get pizza, cuddle, and tell each other dumb jokes for the rest of the day. Good night, and I'll update you in the future. I hope she does update because this is crazy. I want to know what is really going on. Y'all, I have a lot of thoughts. Some that I'm not even sure how to put into words. One thing I will start off by saying is it's hard for me not to ever follow through with someone's wishes after they passed away because that's their wishes. It's their body. They can say what they want done with it. And I think that I feel strongly about it because I have specific things I want done for myself that I would hope my family would follow through with, even though they might not believe in that kind of a thing. For instance, I do not want to be buried in the ground. I have a fear of being in pitch black dark. I have a fear of being in the ground with animals. I don't want no bugs crawling on me. They say, oh, well, you're wrapped in cement. You don't know that. Did you see them put the cement? How many times do we see bodies exhumed in these true crime stories and there's bugs all through them? I don't want that. I don't want to be in the ground. I don't want to be in the ground. I don't want to be in the ground. But some of my family members do not believe in cremation. They think it's like you asking to go to hell. I don't believe that. I'd rather that than be in the ground. So in this case, where someone asks for something, it would be very disheartening to know you did something different based on your beliefs, not mine. However, sir, you are asking your wife and children, who hopefully will be adults by the time you die, because I pray that you get healed and can live a very long life, but you want them to look at your actual skull that was in your actual body that they knew and loved for a lot of years to be placed on the mantle, which is the centerpiece of the room where everybody's at, and most likely you got a TV over you, so we have to see you, and you want blue gems in your eyes to represent you watching over us? Sir, I don't know. I don't know. The reason I'm feeling like I have a hesitancy with your request is because your request will be affecting my life for many days to come if I have to sit there and look at your skull. I get, like, once the body has, or the soul has left, it's just body pieces. That's all the more reason I don't want to look at your skull, because it doesn't have your face attached to it. It's not attached to your face. I don't think that that is weird that she thinks it's weird. I think it's very weird. I think that, like, especially because you're making me have to ask for it. Now, if you had it where you were able to have somebody that came in and just took over, and I didn't have to be the one to call the gym people and then have them bring me your... I don't want to be your head holder. I don't want to be your skull holder. Skull placeholder. I don't want that. I don't. Like, have your picture on the mantle. That's normal. But having your picture next to your live actual head, sir, a little cuckoo. I don't want that. I feel like that's a little morbid because it's so, it's such an unnatural state. Yeah, you could say being cremated is unnatural too, but I'm saying put me in a box. You don't have to look at me. However, one of my requests is that you put me in whatever box you put me in has holes in it so we can get some air circulation through and a little light. I don't like to be in no closed spaces or else I had to be in the ground. Put me a hole and just crack that box a little bit. Just so you know. I'm putting this on record. So anybody who says she didn't say that, she said it. She wants to be in a box that's in, you know, you can put me in the most loud, joyful, most visited room. I'm all for that if you feel comfortable. But make sure that lid is cracked. I don't want to be sealed shut in that little jar. You keep a little bit light in there. I need to get some light and some air circulation through that. That's in my mind how I justify it and make it okay versus being in the ground. And since those are my only two options that I would put my family through, I'm picking that one. And I get that you want to do what you want to do, and maybe it is you have a quirky sense of humor and you just want to do something different, go out with a bang, like those people who have the funerals where they're like set up in a position, like the one guy who was a boxer. They had him posted up like that, and the other dude, that they put the joint in his hand and he was sitting there smoking a blunt in the chair. Y'all seen them. I'm gonna find clips. But they have those ones where they have that. If that's what they want going out in their funeral, fine. You know what I want at my funeral? I want fireworks. I want you to have that big Louisiana bands, those bands that they have down south in Louisiana, and I want them to play When the Saints Go Marching In, What a Wonderful World. I want it to be a whole little party, like just boom, 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 boom. I want all of that. Like get them horns out. If you want to have masks and boas and whatever, y'all party your tails off. And then when you're sending me off, I would like an array of fireworks. That's what I would like. I would like to go out in fireworks. That's one of my favorite things. And I feel like that's a great way to go out. But do you see how the fireworks might put people out of maybe a couple $100s? But it's every time they'll see fireworks, they'll think of me in a fun way. Fireworks make people happy, right? Not a skull. It's just, no. But it sounds like because Reddit has given them some advice, they've looked at it and he might be willing to compromise. So hopefully he will. And hopefully y'all can come up with something that's in the middle of the road. Because your wife is expressing to you how traumatic that would be for her. You have to listen to that. You can't just ignore it. You can't. You have to listen. What do you guys think? What would you tell her to do in this situation? I mean, yeah, you could always just not do what they want. But I feel like that's wrong. I have a family member that happened to. She had requested something and it did not happen like she wanted it to because of how somebody else felt about it. And it's like, that has nothing to do with you. So I guess I'm kind of contradicting myself right now. Maybe you know what you could do is just like put it in a box that has like some kind of a decoration over it. So you can tell the skull's in there, but that's not the whole focus. Like find one of those clear blocked boxes that has the locks on it so nobody can get in or out of it, but then like maybe decorate it in some way that's a cool way that could be like art. Maybe you could do that. Turn it into like an art piece where he's still there. But you know what? I don't need to see your grin at me when I got my new sitting on the couch and he's like, so what's with the skull? Oh, that's just Bob, my first husband. I don't think anybody would think that that's just okay. I feel like now there's a conversation that has to be had. Do I want to do that every time? I don't know. What do y'all think? I might be a prude. I might just be not even trying to be open-minded here because I think this is ridiculous. The other thing, sir, is you don't want your kids to be traumatized. And what kid do you know wants to look at a dead skull that belonged in their father's body at one point? How do you explain that? And then the fact that you'll have to explain it every single time somebody comes to your house, because if you don't explain it and you have someone like me who's nosy and comes in and sees this skull on your mantle and you confirm that it's a human skull, beep, bop, 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 bop. Unsolved Mysteries. How much is the reward? I'm calling. You guys tell me what you think. These stories are crazy. They are crazy, y'all. I can't make this up if I wanted to. Spice Rack, thank you so much for coming back. This was a little bit of a doozy. I feel like I didn't know where to go with this one because I was not expecting that. However, it was an interesting story, and I like the interesting stories. So if you have any more stories for me, any more videos for me, anything, if you want me to respond, react, give advice, I don't know, whatever it is, make sure you send it to me. I'll put all of my information right here, Spice Life TV, at Instagram, Gmail, and YouTube. And other than that, I will see you guys later. Now, if you're not a part of the Spice Rack, before we leave, we need to discuss why you're not. I see so many of you guys are watching me, because I can tell by this little thing we call analytics, but you don't push the subscribe button. Okay, I get it. Maybe you got to take a few times. I'm not for everybody, I know. However, if you think you would like to be a part of the Spice Rack, go ahead and push that button. You see that little button in the corner? It might be on this corner, but I spent a lot of time working trying to make that little button. I thought the button was going to be bigger, but it ain't bigger. But still, it's red. So if it's red to you, that means we have a problem. You need to push it and make it red. I mean, make it gray. Make it gray. Can you do that for your girl? Thank you. I appreciate it. Otherwise, guys, I will see you later. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And guess what? I love you. I'm so glad. So I'll see you later, guys. Bye.